So this is video 2, talking about shoulder surgery, shoulder recovery. It's been a while since I've done an upload, and of course a lot of progress has been made. I'll update all that later. Uh, this video really just is to talk about kind of the mechanism of injury and the process I had to go through to get to surgery, and a little bit of post-surgery stuff too. But I remember as 2012, right before I deployed to Afghanistan, I was doing behind the head shoulder presses in high volume, following Chris Gethin's program for 12-week transformation. And I hurt myself on probably the third or fourth set and kept pushing through, didn't think anything of it. Kept on kind of nagging at me until I went to the doctor after I deployed. I did not want to miss deployment because, I mean, you're a scumbag if you medically cop out at the last second. So I went to the doctor downrange. They determined that it was probably just a strained teres minor at the time. Put me through physical therapy. Felt good after that. Probably about 2 months of therapy there. That was lifting. It took me maybe about a month and a half off of doing chest and shoulders, really. Still was able to do back, biceps, all the fun stuff. Trying to continue my size quest and physique quest, which has been significantly derailed, but that's a different story. Came back from Afghanistan completely fine. Moved to Fort Campbell. Went through, made it through air assault school. Less than a year here at the unit, though. I felt it starting to kind of flare up while I was doing side lateral raises with about 35-pound dumbbells. So I went to the doctor. Again, he gave me about a 2-week profile. Didn't even really look at me for it. It was just, it's Army doctors. They're not going to really look at anything just because it's bothering you. So from there I went to continue with my lifting, continue with my life. Probably November-ish, October, November 2016, I started to experience some irritation and pain again. And this was after I've already been selected for warrant officer candidate school. Started to experience some more pain, so went to the doctor. The doctor actually paid attention to me this time. Set me up for x-rays, noticed I had some degenerative arthritis and some other things looking kind of funny in the bone there, so he sent me for an MRI. Turns out I had a torn labrum, what looked like a near circumferential tear, which is almost all the way around in kind of a U shape along the bottom where the shoulder attaches to the labrum. So I opted for therapy at the time. After talking to the doctor, talking to the therapist, because I wanted to go to warrant officer candidate school. Rehabbed like hell for about a month and a half. And then I kind of had an accident at a range. I was on a range detail. You know, the old, if you are in the Army, you've seen the old foxholes, the concrete circles around the range. Well, I was trying to jump down into one. Miscalculated and fell, and in order to protect my face, I, of course, fell with my arms outstretched so I didn't bash my face onto the other side of the concrete. Ripped my arm clean out of ripped it out of socket. I was able to put it back in on the spot. Freaked out a lot of fisters. If you know what a fister is, it's not a vulgar term for those of you who aren't in the military. They're just fire support specialists. Those are the guys that tell you where the bad guy is so you can drop artillery rounds on them, really, or close air support or anything else for that matter. Kind of one of my moments of fame and badassness with the fisters there. Anyway, I went to the ER. Again, I continued with therapy rather than opting for surgery at that time because I wanted to go to warrant officer candidate school. Completely recovered or at least what I thought was completely recovered, probably about 3 weeks before going to school. I stopped therapy in March. Back up to full strength. I was able to do push-ups, pull-ups. Overall felt really good physically. Took a PT test, scored okay. Not great by any Army standard, but passing regardless. Went to Warrant Officer Candidate School, passed PT test better than I did here at the unit, which is surprising because it's supposed to be the hardest PT test you'll ever take. And I made it through the first 2 weeks of the school, which is the most rigorous training you can imagine for an officer producing school, was they're trying to shove what should realistically be 8 to 12 weeks of school into a 4.5, 5-week period. Got through all that, no pain whatsoever, felt great. I'm talking push-ups, pull-ups, running ourselves into the dirt, no pain. And then I had an accident on an obstacle on the leadership reaction course. I was trying to negotiate it and tried to go down a rope. I did not have the forethought to wrap my leg in any kind of J-hook or otherwise, and tried to descend down a wall somewhere in between what I imagined was going to be fast roping and rappelling. If you're from Air Assault, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If not, then go Air Assault. Yeah, it didn't work well. I completely ripped my arm out of socket. Ended up in the hospital. Of course, magic words were said on a profile where they dropped me from the course temporarily. I get to come back and all that, so I'm not worried about that. Anyway, it sent me home. Opted for surgery to repair the damage, and I will cover surgery later. But that's just kind of the mechanism of the injury and what I'm working against right now. Not fun. Has not been a fun road to recovery, but I'll start talking about that in the next video. Hopefully I can film that either in the next couple weeks or so. All right, well, until next time, this is John.